guilds. So we'll start with some of those. This question comes from Zills and Leilani, who ask, and this is in regards to Guild Wars, will guilds and alliances have the option for permanent or long-lasting wars with other guilds and alliances, or will the Guild War system only allow for shorter objective-based conflicts?
So there won't be permanent wars. There will be definitive and victory conditions applied to each war instance. And those will vary across the different wars depending on the level of your guild, the level of the opposing guild, and different assets that those guilds may have will help to indicate specific objectives.
Here's another one in regards to guilds asking, can we guild invite across Vera, or do characters need to be close to one another?
You will be able to guild invite across Vera. So there will be a guild, there's a guild interface, a UI window, and in that interface UI window, you have your management and administration of the guild. There will be an invites section for you to type in a character name. Additionally, you could do it through chat window through a / command.
When you add someone as a friend, are you adding just their character as a friend, or are you adding their account as a friend?
Just their character. And there might be some functionality through the launcher and or web systems that allow you to add an account as a friend, but we haven't determined for sure if that's the case yet.
Michael asks, what actions can be taken against the vassal of a node that you declare war on? For example, can they be sieged during the siege period as well?
No, sieges are node specific. So you go through a quest to obtain a declaration item. That quest is going to be determined by the level of node siege you're attempting to do, essentially. And once you have the item, then you may declare against one specific node of that quest line's level or lower.
When a node siege has been declared, can that node gain or lose XP during the declaration period and thus advance or atrophy to a different stage?
Yeah, so the declaration period does not inhibit the node's ability to collect experience. It's something that we were thinking about in the past of doing. But given the length of time that declaration periods can become based on the node level, it's a number of days equal to the stage of the node. So Metropolis is a 6-day declaration period. A city is a 5-day declaration period. That would be a significant period of time and could be utilized as a method by which you essentially have a false flag type siege and progress beyond that node's. And that would just have a lot of kind of quirky results when it comes to how nodes interact with each other. So not going to inhibit the ability for nodes to collect experience during the declaration.
And this is in regards to animations. They're asking, will every race have their own style of combat in terms of animations?
That'd be real expensive. We would love to do something like that, but we would need several hundred animators to make that happen. But we will have things that are known as sort of like racial abilities, which will key into the class that you've chosen, and those will almost certainly have animations that are kind of like one-offs that are associated with that class. Will help you get some more like, some more Renkai flavor or some more Empyrean flavor, but we have to reuse animations as much as possible in order to get to the finish line here. So it'd be a super nice thing to do, but probably not in the cards.
And they're wondering, what will death penalties be inside of objective-based events that don't rely on player flagging, such as caravans or guild wars or node sieges?
So there will not be death penalties applied to event-based deaths. The penalties are in the outcome of the event. So your number of deaths is likely going to impact your ability to win that particular event, and that's going to be the penalty if you lose. And this is to encourage players to opt in to the events, right? Because the more participation we have, the more fun it can be. And we understand that the community at large, there's already a risk versus reward component to these events. We don't need to stack on additional risk versus reward to inhibit kind of to increase the barrier to entry for players who may not be as interested in PvP.
Will the values of stats on dropped gear be random to some degree for each item? For example, I may get a sword that's plus 83 stamina, and then another time when the same sword drops, it's plus 93 stamina or something like that.
Yeah, most certainly. So individual item stats, those are those are a variable essentially, right? And the degree at which those stats increase can also indicate the rarity of that particular item. So you're going to have drop tables with different rarity of items, and that's going to impact the stat values. You're going to have just different item IDs that are going to be spawned from those tables as well, which have different stats. So it's not going to be cookie cutter, the same kind of item across the board. And that plays into our crafting system in and of itself, right? The idea is for those stats to be variables that can be kind of dictated based on the mastery level of the particular crafter, and the higher they become a master of those professions, whether it be for armor or for weapons or for accessories, they're going to have some agency and put their mark on essentially what items they're introducing into the economy as well.
Got it. Okay, our next question from A Life in Symmetry is in regards to mounts. Will there be a different default mount for each race, and what might they be?
So by default mount, the way I view that is essentially the quest lines that kind of grant your initial mount when you come into the game. That in and of itself will reflect the area, the starting area, and which races those quest lines are. So yes, in a way there are racial mounts because each starting area will have a different quest line that will yield a different type of starting mount. But by default, you don't just choose, human and here you get a horse, so to speak, because you can be a human in our game and choose to start in a different racial area at a different divine gateway, and as such, then you could follow the quest line that gives you, the orc mount. But that's how I would describe racial mounts, is based on the starting area and which civilization that starting area reflects, and then that quest line will be unique for those individual areas.
Will there be daily login rewards? So not daily quests, but a calendar that opens up and says, "You logged in for one day. Have a potion."
I think so. I mean, I don't know, not a potion. But here, have a weapon. No, I'm just kidding. And buy this exclusive login chart. You have the premium plan. No, I'm just kidding. There's not going to be any of that. No, but I do think it's cool to have like a login reward feature. Might just be something that is simple cosmetic based. For example, we could have a monthly kind of login end of the month reward for a unique cosmetic. Never appears again, but if you just log in every day in that month, you get that cosmetic, and that's a cool collector's component. I'm a huge cosmetic collector, and I love stuff like that. The more ways you can diversify the obtaining path for specific cosmetics across different gaming systems, whether that be logging in, adventuring, crafting, society stuff, guild-driven thing, whatever it is. I'm a big fan of many paths, right? At the end of the day, it's just content, but if you put it in a wheel that is unique, I think that's a lot of fun for players.
And in regards to the day-night cycle, when we look up at the stars, will the sky be static every night, or will we get to see variation in the night sky?
So there was a whole lot of stuff I wanted to do with that, but the tech involved is let's just say it might be a stretch goal of ours, but I think kind of where we're at right now, I don't know. You speak to it, Stephen. I'm not exactly sure how far along things are, but
on the night sky?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's possible, and this is something I know super early on we were talking about from a constellation standpoint, but I think it's possible that based on the specific zone, we can have unique night skies, right? So it might be something interesting to play with. It's definitely not a high priority, but I know there's some work being done currently on the night sky systems that Brian, I think, is working on. And that might be an investigative task. If it's possible, I think it adds. If it's pretty much possible without expanding significant scope or major issues, I think it adds a cool component to the immersive nature of the world. And it'd be a cool thing to add.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like I wanted to tie that into some quest stuff and maybe some events, but in terms of bang for buck, it's pretty low priority. So
yeah, it would be super cool if you could have like a constellation related quest thing at the library of the scientific nodes, where the camera's vector and position in the night, like as a player, if you look up in a certain direction in the right zone. Right, and that satisfies like a quest requirement, and you can do like exploratory constellation work across the world. I think that would be a really fun thing to do.
That would be cool for the Vec for sure, as they are
Oh, yeah.
stargazers.
they are. And the night sky on Vera is very different from the night sky on Sanctus, and how those two things relate might be interesting.
I'm out of questions. Well, I have more, but how many moons will be in the night sky?
Hey, we haven't revealed that. I remember
Oh,
that question
I don't
from
think we
a long time
Uh-huh.
ago. Yeah, we'll find out.
Keep it secret? Okay.